On the heels of Women's History Month, we're recognizing ladies who help make our communities a better place to live. They're members of law enforcement.
If somebody thinks I can't do this job because I'm a woman, that's not my burden to carry. That's their problem.
They're first responders, farmers, actresses. They're pioneers paving the way here at home and across the globe.
She said, Mrs. Grant, if that happened to your sister, that could happen to me.
They're women you may even know. And tonight, they're pulling back the curtain, sharing personal stories.
You had to, have a servant's heart as well as a firefighter, which means you want to help others as a public servant. And we do that 45,000 times a day in this department.
Stories that are sure to inspire the next generation of young women. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Catherine Herr. Speaking of the next generation, we're bringing you this Eyewitness News special surrounded by young women from Gaston Middle School in Fresno. For the next half hour, we'll be hanging out with these special ladies, and we invite you to come along as we celebrate girl power. We begin here in Fresno County with a female trailblazer who set a historic precedent. There have been 25 sheriffs serving the area since the year 1856. And Margaret Mims is the only woman on the list. But her rise to the top did not come without its challenges. Alex Backus shares how she overcame while serving the community.
That shows how committed.
Fresno County Sheriff Margaret Mims has broken barriers her entire career. She is the first female sheriff in the department's history, serving a community she grew up in.
I grew up in the small town of San Joaquin on the west side of Fresno County.
Mims was on a path to become a teacher, but that all changed one night in 1979.
I got a telephone call one night from my dad, who was going to a retirement dinner. And he said, your mom's got a headache. I don't want to go by myself. Would you go with me? And I said, sure, Dad.
At that party, Mims met the new Kerman police chief who wanted to add women to his force.
Basically told him, if I know of anybody interested, I'll let you know.
Mims applied and a few months later became the first female officer in the city of Kerman, but it came with challenges.
People wanted to test my abilities.
She kept working, and in 1983, Mims became a sheriff's deputy in Fresno County. There, she rose through the ranks, becoming the first female canine handler, lieutenant, and captain, just to name a few.
I felt for many years I had to prove myself. I felt I had to make more arrests, I had to write more reports, I had to clear more cases. I had an epiphany one time, and I thought, if somebody thinks I can't do this job because I'm a woman, that's not my burden to carry. That's their problem.
In 2006, Mims became the first female sheriff in Fresno County. Just 2 years later, she faced a new challenge. She was diagnosed with breast cancer. She beat it and used her voice to advocate for early detection.
I've been blessed, and I feel a responsibility to give back.
During her time as sheriff, several laws impacting law enforcement have changed, and Mims has taken a tough stance.
Laws that are passed, things that happen that don't help me keep people safe, I will be very vocal.
It's a disgrace.
Her opinion was sought after by President Trump. She sat across from him last year in Washington discussing the state's sanctuary state law.
We'll take care of it, Margaret.
Sheriff Mims is one of only 40 female sheriffs in the country. She also serves the community, working with several organizations. Sheriff Mims has broken the glass ceiling in job she didn't plan to have.
Be prepared to be flexible. What you think you may want to be may not be what you're meant to be.
Her career is an example of that. To young women is to work hard to accomplish your goals.
You have to work very hard for what you want. Nobody's going to hand it to you just because you're a woman.
And Sheriff Mims credits her male colleagues who stepped up and served as a mentor to her at a time when she was the only woman in law enforcement. I'm Alex Backus, celebrating girl power.
Coming up, we're shining a light on women in agriculture. The Farm Her movement is taking off. Hop on the tractor and we'll take you along for the ride. Next.
I would have wanted someone to kind of come back and throw me a rope.
A perfect example of paying it forward, how actress Viola Davis is helping the students of her hometown dream fierce. Women in agriculture have always played a pivotal role in keeping a family farm running. But these days, they're getting more credit and more opportunities. Call them farm hers. Sabrina Ahmed shows you the program that's helping females on the farm.
We have to do more buckets for that thing.
Before the sun rises on the Talak family farm, sisters Abby and Jenna are hard at work before they head to school. Pampering their show cows, they'll spend hundreds of hours with them before the real work begins this summer.
Her name's Phyllis. She's that white one. You can't really see her. She's almost so tame that she's like kind of annoying sometimes.
It may not be glamorous, but they wouldn't trade these muddy morning walks, even if it meant a few more hours of sleep.
I've done this basically my whole life since I was 6 or 7, and I wouldn't know my life if I didn't have it in it.
Once they finish up by the house, they head out to the pasture.
I'm just going to check the cows to make sure that there's no babies coming.
Sisters working as a team every morning.
It depends on the day, but you caught us on a good day.
On days they need a little boost,
If you can dream it, you can achieve it.
Mind your own biscuits and life will be gravy.
inspiration is a whiteboard away.
Every time we come up here, they just remind us that we have to continue to work even if we don't have the motivation during that day.
Getting them through those 5:30 a.m. wake-up calls.
If you can think about it, you can know you can do it.
Ladies like Jenna and Abby are the future of farming, and women like them are working every morning on farms across the country. Margie Alanas saw a need to showcase them.
I started a photo project to show people what women do on farms, like the real everyday, out here in the mud, up early in the morning, feeding the cattle.
Still pictures she took became so popular, she started a TV show called Farm Her. Now in its 3rd season, Margie uses the program to teach Americans where their food comes from.
Every single thing that we all eat comes from a farm in one way or another.
And to introduce the women behind the often thankless job.
You know, you could be here on a farm in Iowa taking care of your cattle, and somebody in California could see that and they could look at that and go, that's my everyday, that's my morning, I can relate to that person.
Jenna and Abby,
You put it in the back.
well, they'll just keep showing, finding that internal motivation and winning, and hope that shows people that women are farmers too.
Most of the time people joke about how girls always do better in the show ring than boys.
In Indianola, I'm Sabrina Ahmed.
When we return, rising through the ranks.
Keep your eye on where you want to achieve and where you want to go, and don't let anybody get in your way.
That's exactly what Fresno Fire Chief Carrie Donis did. And now she's the first woman at the head of the department. It takes a lot for a female to work in a male-dominated profession, but it takes even more to be the leader of them all. From an entry-level firefighter to fire chief, Carrie Donis is the first woman to hold the position in the Fresno Fire Department's history. Viola Ramirez shows us the strength it took for her to move up through the ranks.
In the firefighter world, the majority of the crew are male. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, nationwide, only 4% of firefighters are women. Over the years, departments have attempted to recruit females, yet the numbers remain low. Might it be the status quo, or because physically men are said to be stronger? Whatever the reason may be, women can be firefighters and even leaders of the whole department, just like Fire Chief Carrie Donis, who's been in charge for 5 years now.
I really never thought, I'm going to be the fire chief someday. I thought, I'm going to do the very best I can at each rank I held. And then when the opportunity came, I said, well, I know this organization better than anyone else that's applying, and I think I know where we need to go.
Today, she wears her fire chief badge with pride, but getting it didn't come easy. It took a lot of work, and it required proving herself.
The truth is you do. And the men would look at us, and there was 3 of us that came on at the same time, women, and I could see them looking to see if we could do what all the other guys were doing. And once you get past that proving of yourself and you're consistent, you're part of the team.
Donis joined the Fresno Fire Department in 1996 as an entry-level firefighter, then moved up as deputy fire chief for more than 8 years. She's been in Fresno with the department her whole firefighting career. She's a Fresno State grad who played softball in college. Today, she says the skills she learned in sports helped shape her career.
Well, you have to be mentally and physically tough, and you have to be disciplined and have a work ethic and be a team player. As a student athlete, I'd done that my whole life. And so it was a very natural fit to be in the fire service.
As fire chief, her goal is to educate young women about the job. She says she would like to see more females be a part of her department.
Women can do this just as well as men can, and offer even some other skill sets that maybe men can't offer in this profession.
Donis hopes to inspire young women to pursue a career in firefighting. To achieve that, she's holding a girls' empowerment camp. It's the first of its kind.
We'll show women, what it's like to hold a chainsaw, what it's like to put the turnouts on and crawl and use a hose.
If after the day training, firefighting isn't what interests them, then at least she hopes they will walk away with a strong mindset that they can strive for more, set goals for themselves, work hard, and achieve those goals.
And don't let anybody get in your way of saying you can't do that. The sky's the limit. Have a can-do and never give up attitude. It takes a lot of work to achieve success. And those deposits you make each and every day to achieve that goal will only pay off in the end.
As the fire chief says, it takes a lot of mental and physical strength to be a female firefighter. I tip my hats to them for carrying around this heavy equipment, keeping their head held high, and most importantly, keeping our community safe. I'm Viola Ramirez, celebrating girl power.
And up in Northern California, some Mountain View firefighters are making history. That's because for the first time in the 140-year history of the fire department, there's a crew made up of only women. A recent picture of the trio made its way to the chief, who posted it on Facebook. Since then, the snapshot has garnered lots of attention, including from other female firefighters who say they're very proud.
You're an all-women crew. People notice it. They speak to it. It's just setting an example for them that women can do this job and that you can have an entire company of women performing to the same levels, if not exceeding the levels of the male companies.
Before she became a Hollywood heavyweight, Viola Davis was a student in a poor community in Rhode Island.
I know all the obstacles that are placed in your path living in Central Falls.
Now she's using her rising star power to quietly help other students following in her footsteps. Join us for that story next. Women in Hollywood are having a moment. Female directors, producers, actors, all standing up to the status quo, taking on commanding roles in an industry once ruled by men. Viola Davis is no exception, with hit shows, movies, award-winning performances. And though she may be a big star, she continues to give back to where it all began. Shannon Hagee takes us up to the East Coast.
It was here at Jenks Park in Rhode Island's Central Falls that Viola Davis spent so much of her childhood loved acting. From her moving performance in The Help to her Emmy-winning role in How to Get Away with Murder to her Oscar-winning performance in Fences, Viola Davis has climbed to the top of the list of Hollywood heavyweights. But before she ever walked the red carpet, she walked the halls of Rhode Island's Central Falls High School.
Mimicking his hiccuping.
Mimicking his hiccuping. Inside that high school today, her sister, Dr. Dolores Grant,
The big black bug.
Bled blue blood.
Bled blue blood.
teaches the students who hope to follow in Viola's footsteps.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 6, 5, 4, 3. My sister Viola has given so much of her time, money, any type of opportunity she's been able to expose the children in the city to, as well as parents. She's gone out of her way, above and beyond, to bring resources to the children of Central Falls.
Viola's success and regular contributions to her hometown inspired the city to name this street right next to the high school after her 3 years ago. It was during a fundraiser for Central Falls High School back in 2012 that Viola told us giving back is her life's purpose.
when I was growing up in Central Falls, that I would have wanted someone to kind of come back and throw me a rope as I'm throwing others a rope now that I've walked through the door.
She made a visit to the high school that same year.
I know the road ahead of you. I know all the obstacles that are placed in your path living in Central Falls.
She came in and spoke to our senior class. Afterwards, we had an opportunity for the students to connect and meet with her. And every single one of those interactions was genuine. You know, they wanted to take pictures, they wanted to talk to her, they wanted to interact with her. And she did it in such an original way where every student and every person that had an opportunity to connect with her was able to sort of have their moment with Viola.
Childhood wasn't easy for Viola and her siblings. Her sister Dolores tells me growing up in poverty, they often looked for an escape, one that was provided to them through acting.
I love the fact that we were given the opportunity to be on stage, whether it was in the high school, whether it was in Jenks Park. We always had those opportunities given to us, and we were able to escape those moments of poverty.
Together, she and her sister founded the Upward Bound Scholarship, having both benefited from the federally funded Upward Bound College Access program as kids. Dolores says Viola is constantly checking in on kids in the high school, especially those in the Thespian Society Dolores started, quietly paying for field trips to New York City, even giving her input on students' work.
I've had students ask me, Mrs. Grant, can you ask your sister what she thinks of my monologue? And we'll tape it. I send it to my sister, and she gives her feedback. We have access to a Hollywood star. A Hollywood star that's willing to give feedback and to give of her time.
In a city where the poverty rate currently stands at over 30%, Dolores takes pride in the fact that her sister Viola is giving students hope that they too can make it big.
And I remember when Viola was nominated for her first Academy Award, I had a student come to me and say, Mrs. Grant, and she started crying, and she said, Mrs. Grant, if that happened to your sister, that could happen for me.
And it was on stage during her winning moment at the SAG Awards in 2012 that Viola Davis shouted out the kids here in Central Falls, encouraging them to, quote, dream big and dream fierce. In Central Falls, Rhode Island, I'm Shannon Heggie.
Stick around. We'll have more of our Girl Power special coming up. Seneca Falls is a tiny town in upstate New York where the women's rights movement got its start back in 1848. Today it's home to the National Women's Hall of Fame. There are 276 women on the walls, recognized for their enduring contributions to the nation and the world. We're talking authors, astronauts, athletes, and of course, the suffragists. Many of them world famous and some you've never heard of.
And that's the beauty when people come to the hall and they look around and they ask themselves, why don't I know about this person? Why don't I know who invented pediatric cardiac surgery techniques? You know, that kind of question.
The hall has outgrown its space, but that will soon change. The Seneca Knitting Mill, about 4 times the size of the current hall, is being transformed into the new Hall of Fame.
There's nothing little about this project. This is a special project that will leave a community stronger and better and leave a history and honor women that have done incredible things.
The Hall of Fame is being built in phases. Organizers are fundraising 1 floor at a time. The first phase of the project will be complete by September, just in time for the induction of this year's class. And girl power does not stop here. CBS47 is excited to announce the launch of a new weekly series highlighting young girls and women from all over the valley whose stories just need to be shared. We hope you'll find them uplifting, empowering, and memorable. Inspiring girls to greatness, preparing young women for the possibilities before them.
I love that you're focusing on girl power because I think that it's really important for young women to dream big, to think big, to not limit themselves to the expectations of what others might put on them.
To encourage them to consider avenues they've never contemplated before.
Don't think you can't do the job. I'm encouraging young women and girls to try it, give it a try, and see what you think.
Girl Power focuses on middle school age girls. It's a vulnerable time when they change schools, face peer pressure to conform, are exposed to drugs and sex, and possibly pushed into situations beyond their experience. There's pressure from social media, bullying online and in person. Girl Power is designed to be a positive influence in partnership with those who are making a difference to show girls what they can do.
I'm super excited to hear of this proactive effort. Really reach out to young women in the community and kind of showcase not only their talent, but some talent that have come before them that can possibly give them a glide path, right, to get to a different position that they aspire to in their careers.
So this next generation is poised to lead and break some barriers of their own. If you'd like to join us in celebrating Girl Power, you can find all of these stories and so many more on our website, yourcentralvalley.com. Finally tonight, we want to thank you for watching and helping us honor these female trailblazers and the influence they have on public policy, social issues, and the quality of life in local communities across America. We hope you remember to celebrate the women and girls in your life. Good night.